Hey everybody, it's Kano Kip here from the Philippines still. Um, I am wanting to do some videos, as many as I can before I leave for Ecuador here in a couple weeks, and ask guys, and I'll try to do the same thing when I get there, but I want to ask people, what questions about their experience here, why they came here, and all that. So I figured, what the heck, I'll ask myself the questions, and then try and answer them, even though they're my questions. Hopefully I can answer them, all right? All right, so the first question I would ask is how or why did moving to the Philippines ever become an option? For me, I lived alone. I didn't see my family very much, a couple times a year, holidays or something. And that included my daughter. Saw my granddaughter like 3 times in 5 years. So I didn't really have a lot of family get-togethers and things. So 350 days out of the year, I was by myself. I had looked at dating sites there in America. I just couldn't find anybody that I wanted to be with all the time. So I was selling a ladder that I bought back in 1992. It was a 12-foot tall fiberglass step ladder that I bought it because I had a really tall entryway with a chandelier in it, and to change light bulbs. I bought a ladder, a 12-foot ladder to get up there, and it was barely tall enough. But anyway, a guy from Oklahoma called about it. I had it on Craigslist, and he came to look at it, and we're sitting there talking, and he drove up to get it, and we're talking, and came up that he was going to see his girlfriend from Vietnam, and they'd planned on maybe getting married and stuff. And I said, Vietnam? How did you meet somebody from Vietnam? Anyway, he just said dating sites online, and I tried American dating sites, and he said, where would you like to meet somebody from? And I said, I don't know, Asia. First place came to mind, Asia. So he told me about a dating site, and I went on it, and I spent hours over the next evenings after work just chatting with girls from the Philippines. Most every one of them were from the Philippines. So I started looking into cost of living in the Philippines, and I found out that I could live here pretty nicely, just as nice almost as in the States, but I didn't have to work. I didn't have all that stress. It wasn't 24/7, 365. I just decided, what the hell? I've always been that guy that would go on hiking or canoe trips or something, and people would say, hey, let's stop here for the night. But I was always, all I could think about is, all right, well, what's around the next bend? What's around the next corner? I always wanted to see what was up ahead. What was the next thing? So anyway, I think that's kind of why my attitude is, to say, do it, just do it. I had some of my relatives, my sister, and both my parents all died below 70 years old. And I thought, I've seen quite a bit of the United States, not nearly as much as I'd like to, but I hadn't seen hardly any of the world except for the Caribbean. And I came to China for 2 weeks to adopt my daughter, but that was it. So I thought, what the heck? What am I going to lose? I can always come back if it doesn't work out. So anyway, that's why I'm here. It was an experience, an adventure that I've been on for almost 3 years now. So that was it. Okay. Next question was, how difficult was it to leave your family and friends behind? And I think I kind of touched on that in the first one. That I miss my family and friends, but it wasn't like I was ever invited to do stuff very much. And if I was invited, like with friends, to go out and do stuff, it was either like a long ways away, it was karaoke or something, and I hate karaoke. I don't mind watching some other people sing once in a while, but it's just not my gig. So, and again, I could come here for 30 days, and if I didn't like it, I had a ticket to come back home. If I didn't like it, well, after I got here, I loved it, so I stayed. So anyway, that's all that. So, what is my opinion of the best parts of the Philippines? My opinion of the best parts of the Philippines when I first got here was the people. they spoke English for the most part. Most of them do, or at least enough where you can carry on a conversation with them and back and forth. They were also nice and accommodating and would answer questions and would lend a hand. And uh, I wrecked a motorcycle one time and like on a remote road, and everybody that came by stopped and they helped me get my motorcycle, and they asked me if I did this, and asked me if I needed that, and asked me what they could do. And they just stayed there until they flagged down three boys on a tricycle carrying a bunch of bags of I don't know if it were coconuts or what it was, coconut husks or something. So these boys went up the street, took all these bags out of their tricycle, put them on the side of the road, came down, and all the people there helped load my motorcycle up into the sidecar of this tricycle. And that guy and his two buddies and me rode the tricycle and held onto the motorcycle on the way to the next town, which is, I don't know, I don't remember how far away it was, but on the way there, an ambulance, a rescue truck was coming the other way, and they saw me sitting on the, side saddle is how they'll sit behind the driver on a motorcycle, and I was sitting back there, and they went by and they saw my leg. It was all bloody and everything, so they stopped. What they ended up doing was they put me in the rescue van, drove me to the next town to the doctor's office, while the boys with my motorcycle, they were a lot slower. Well, they ended up showing up. They unloaded my motorcycle and parked it outside. And then I was asking, hey, what I need to give them guys some money. And they said, oh, just give him some gas money, give him 50 pesos or something. So I thought, all right, here's 50 pesos. That's $1 for gas. But I was going to give them more. But before I knew it, these guys were gone. I would have given them 500 pesos. I mean, they were just went out of their way, did stuff that they didn't need to, way out of their ways. Anyway, that was the thing I liked the most. So the next thing I liked the most is, I'd say, the cost of living. Things are way different here. If you don't like chicken, pork, or fish, unless you're just going to eat fruits and vegetables, and you wouldn't like it here, because that's pretty much your choices almost everywhere. There is some beef here and there and things, but chicken, pork, and fish is pretty much it. And rice, if you like rice anywhere in Asia, it's going to be perfect for you. Other things I liked here was it was beautiful. Just mountains and hillsides with nothing but coconut trees, beaches and water everywhere. It's just a beautiful landscape. The fourth thing I liked was the women here, and I'm just upset if there's any feminists out there or something like that. I mean, I'm just being truthful here. I like the women here. I mean, if you could do it, there's 18 to 80-year-old women here, and that would just love to be with you, take care of you, clean, cook, massage your feet. My damn girlfriend now, she clips my fingernails and toenails more than I've ever been clipped in my whole life. Every week, every time she sees me, she takes out the clippers and takes my hand and clips the nails and puts this crap on there and brushes it, and I don't know what she even does, but I used to, I'd bite my nails off and stuff, clippers, that was for your toenails once in a while, and that was about it. But anyway, she cleans, sweeps, mops, she just does everything, and I don't ask her, she just loves it. And you ask her about it, and she said, oh, I love doing housework, I love keeping busy doing things around the house, so that's great. Then anyway, I have friends here that have girlfriends, 68-year-old men with 24-year-old girlfriends. And I know what you think is probably they're gold diggers or something, but it just depends on the girl. Some of them are. Yeah, there's some scammers here and stuff. But in my opinion, from what I've seen, if you're smart, most of the girls here that are with a man that's that much older than them, they love them. They really, really do. They take care of them. They want to, they just want to be with you all the time, constantly, and they're always smiling and always, just it's just weird. It's a good weird, but it's weird. The least likable things here, or especially where I live right now in Valencia, is well, we had the typhoon at Christmas last year, 2021, and that sucked. My first typhoon, I was kind of excited. I'm a tornado guy from Kansas, and once I got here, I've experienced earthquakes and a volcano. When I lived in Parañaque, Taal volcano erupted, and there was some volcanic ash where I lived. I was 40 miles away, but there was still volcanic ash and stuff, and there's just, again, I'm here on an adventure. I'm experience life. And this is some of the things we experienced. Some of the last big thing was a typhoon. And luckily, the typhoon, right before it got to Dumaguete, turned north. Luckily for us, anyway. Not luckily for Bais City and Tayasan and places north of here. But we had pretty heavy rain, really heavy rain, pretty hard winds. I was up all night. The electricity went out. I have a CPAP machine, so I can't sleep with no electricity. But every 3 hours, I have a sunshade thing on the side of the building. I had to go out and retie it and batten down the hatches, so to speak. But then ever since then, our water here in Valencia, every time we run the washing machine, every time or time and a half we run it, I have to shut it off, take the hose off, take the filter out, and clean out the filter because it's full of sand. So the water isn't coming through. So that's one thing. And that's been the worst here the last couple of months since the typhoon. Before that, they would shut the water off at nighttime, maybe 11 o'clock until 5 in the morning. There was no water. Eventually, our landlady, she came. There's 4 units in this apartment building. She put in 4 water tanks and 4 pumps. So as long as the electricity's on, if the water's off, we still have water. You don't drink the water here. We buy bottled water. If you can see that jug back there with the little thing on the top, that's the water we drink from. But the bathrooms and everything else, you don't drink the water. They don't drink it here either, so you shouldn't. Let's see what else. Brownouts. They call them brownouts, but they're blackouts. I mean, brownouts to me signifies you have a little bit of less electricity, but you still have some. No. Here, the electricity will just go off at any time, any day, for any length of time. Sometimes it's not bad when they say, hey, next Sunday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., we're shutting off your electricity. And that's not so bad if you know in advance. You just go down to one of the resorts by the ocean, pay 200 pesos to go in, which is $4. But if you buy food, that 200 pesos gets credited towards your food. So, you buy a hamburger for 200 or 250, then that takes care of, that. But they have swimming pools and covered areas, cubos, things like that. And then they'll have chairs and stuff down by the beach, so you can go down and sit at the beach, and they'll have bars and stuff. So, you just spend the day there while the electricity's out. The other thing, let's see, that was water, electricity, internet here in the last couple of months, since the typhoon again, has been really spotty. I mean, I'll be watching something on Netflix, and then it'll go off, and then all I see is a little dot spinning, like it's buffering. I'll check for a VPN on my phone, and it's been shut off or something, and eventually I'll get it figured out and reboot it and stuff, and it'll come on. But that's just been mostly lately. A lot of the people here complain about the internet speeds. I get fine. Netflix, YouTube, stuff like that, they stream fine. So I guess maybe I didn't have that fast of internet in America too, in the United States either. I don't know. But anyway, I guess those are the things heat. The heat. I don't like heat. Constant heat. And it's not constant, but I'd say like a good 9-10 months out of the year, it gets pretty hot, and a couple of months out of those 9 or 10 gets up to me, it's 90 or 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Here it's between 40 and 45 degrees Celsius, centigrade. I don't mind the rain, heavy rains. It's always straight down. It's not like storms back in Kansas where the rain would blow sideways, and Stuff will be blowing off the roofs and everything here. It pours, but it pours straight down. Just a heavy shower. So, all right. Well, those are the things I like, don't like. Let's see. Am I, or would I consider marriage? Yes and no. I've been married twice, and it just, I don't know. Now, my girlfriend I have now, she's already married. In the Philippines, it's the only country left in the world that divorce, you can't have a divorce. It's an annulment, and here an annulment is at least 300,000 pesos, which is what is that? $6,000, and it's going to take 3 to 5 years to get that annulment. But at the end of that time, you spend on lawyers and filing thing and all that stuff. You go before a judge. Well, the judge may say no, he's not going to grant it, and then that $6,000 is gone. It's just gone. Everything is just gone. So there's a lot of people here that are married, but their husbands are mostly usually their husbands is what I hear about. Obviously, are gone. They're already someplace else. They've already got another wife and children and stuff, and that's just the way it's going to be for the rest of their lives. Both him and her, they're going to be married, and that's it, because they just can't afford it. None of them can afford it. So it's unfortunate for lots of people here that way, and but that's just their culture. That's the way things are here. So let's see. A foreigner cannot own land here in the Philippines, and if you own a business, you want to own a business, you can't own more than 50. You have to own less than 50%. Let's put it that way. The business, a Filipina, has to own the majority of the business, and you have to have, of course, you're going to have Filipino employees and stuff, but I just. It's just too difficult for a business, and land that's even scarier. I hear stories all the time of guys that will marry somebody, and then they'll build a house and buy land, and they got to do everything, all that stuff in her name or some Filipino's name. Like, you can own the house, but you can't own the property that it's on. So unless you have a rock solid lease contract for 50 years or something to lease that land that your house is on, if your asawa, your girlfriend, your wife, whatever, decides she's tired of you, she can kick you out of there, and her family take over your house, and it's theirs now. You have no recourse, nothing you can do about it. You're just SOL. I'm going to go back again to what I don't like here. What I don't like here is, unless you live in Cebu or Manila mainly, or close to those two places, the healthcare is way less than what I'm used to. It doesn't mean it's bad. It's way less than what I'm used to coming from the U.S. And insurance here. I can get insurance here for 40,000 pesos a year, which is $800, but they wouldn't cover heart problems, which to me, I'm sick. I just turned 64, and for me, heart problems is maybe kind of important to go to the hospital. The other thing here is you pay for things before it's done. Like, if you need something, you go in and say, oh yeah, it's going to be 50,000 pesos. Well, you pay the 50,000 pesos, or they don't do it for you. The other thing is, if you are here in the hospital, you have to have a helper, which means if you don't have a girlfriend or somebody like that that's going to come and stay with you in that hospital room for the duration of your stay, then you're again SOL. They just won't. They don't allow it. If you get a prescription from the doctor gives it to your girlfriend or wife. She leaves the hospital, goes to a pharmacy, buys it and comes back, and then she administers it if it's medicine, pills and things like that. Now, if it's an IV or something, they'll hook up the IV, they'll hook the bag up, and that's it. But like food, all your normal needs, your helper takes care of. Your doctor comes in and visits, and you pay the doctor separately than the hospital, and it's just a big old cluster, I think. It's just doesn't make sense, but again, that's their culture, and I'm sure, unfortunately, most of the people here just can't afford that. Children die. There's thousands of kids. There's more people here die, children die of things like that than there is of this whole COVID nonsense. But that doesn't matter, it's not popular like COVID is. So people here just can't afford to go do that stuff. So if you get sick here at a young age, you're pretty much gone, unless you have a rich relative or a governor or a barangay chief or somebody that knows you and has the money and will put the money up. And you're pretty much, they're not loaning you the money, they're giving you the money. They don't expect to ever see it back. It's like loaning relatives money. I have a niece and a nephew, both that are that way. I loaned them money, and one of them I actually sold the business to, and he was supposed to pay me back, and he just never did. So I'm still disgruntled about that, but that's just who he is. And another one borrowed money for school to get some certifications so they could get a job. It was $300. Never paid me back, but since then she's had the money to turn into a he. So, but not the money to pay me back. Even though at one point I really needed it and I asked for it, but anyway, I digress. When you loan money to a relative, you just have to realize it's not a loan, it's a gift. Otherwise, it might drive you crazy trying, thinking about it or worrying about it. So, all right. So, my plans for the future: stay or here in the Philippines or keep traveling. Due to this COVID nonsense, I am at the end, in May, I'm at the end of my 3 years. If you come here on a tourist visa, you have 3 years. You can keep extending that visa for 3 years. At the end of 3 years, you have to leave. You don't have to leave forever. You can actually, there's guys here that'll get on an airplane and they'll fly to an airport and sit in the airport and wait for the flight to come back, and then they come back. And then you start your 3 years over again. You just have to leave. Get that stamp from another airport, and then you can come back and start over your whole 3 years tourist visa again. In January this year, 2022, they still weren't allowing tourists here in the Philippines. So I decided that if I'm going to leave and get stuck in another country and not be able to come back, I'm going to go someplace where I think I wouldn't mind being stuck. So I chose Ecuador. After looking at Colombia, at Mexico, Costa Rica, Belize, Bolivia, lots of places. And the reason I looked at South and Central America is because they're closer to home, and I do need to go back to the States. I need to get my driver's license renewed just in case. I need to get a bank account. My bank account got shut down when I was gone, and I had no way to do anything about it, so I got to go back for that. I think I'll get a virtual address unless I can find somebody that's going to allow me to use their address as my address. Bad thing is when they move, I guess then they got to fill out a change of address, and I just don't want to be a hassle for somebody else. And maybe one of those virtual mail places where they get your mail and then they send you email you pictures of each of the envelopes. And if you want something opened and read, you answer them and they scan it and send it to you. And you get so many of those a month, and just blah blah blah. So anyway, a month after after this whole COVID fiasco. A month after I bought my ticket, they started allowing tourists back into the Philippines. I'd already had my ticket for Ecuador. I'd already planned stuff. I have a room to rent there already for a month while I look for another place. So I'm going to Ecuador. I'm leaving in, today is the 20th. 11 days, 10 days, 11 days. Yeah, I'll be leaving. Um, yeah, so that's why I'm leaving. I may decide to come back here. I don't know. And if I hate Ecuador, maybe I'll come back. Or maybe once I get to Ecuador, maybe I'll think I want to go to Chile, and live for a while, or Brazil, or do just travel around South America some. Live in different places there. I only got so much time left in my life. I want to see what I can see and do what I can do and experience what I can experience. Okay. Next question is, do you have a girlfriend, and how old is she? Yes, I do. Mercy is her name, and Mercy is 40. She's trying to get a job as a school teacher. She has a degree and stuff, and I met her online after I got here to Dumagetti. We've been together, it'll be 2 years in July this year, but I'll be leaving in May, so yeah, I do have a girlfriend, and she's 40 years old. I guess that's about it. If you think of any other questions, something you think you would like me to ask other guys, I'm going to try and see if I can get a few other guys to interview. I asked one of my friends here that, I considered, probably my best friend, one of the first guys I met when I got here to do it, but he says he's camera shy and won't do it, so I'm going to ask another friend that just moved here. He used to be my client back in the States, a real estate client, and he lives here now. He's the one that told me about the Dumagetti area, so I think I will maybe interview Fred and see if I can't get him to give us some of these answers too. So anyway, be sure and like and subscribe. Like I said, I'm gonna try and do some more videos of the area and the people. I want to do a video of my house here, which unfortunately right now is really cluttered because I'm leaving in 2 weeks, so I'm getting everything out and going through what I'm keeping, what I'm not keeping, what Mercy's going to take with her, all those kind of things. So it's kind of a mess right now and cluttered, but I'll take a video of that and then maybe go over the costs of food and what we spend for 2 people here. I guess that's it. All right. Be sure to please like and subscribe. It will help me. I like to get this out there. The reason I'm doing this, I'm not doing this to try and get a bunch of subscribers and stuff to get money. I'm retired. I get Social Security. I'm fine. But I do want to help people. I do want to help other people that are thinking about retiring to another country. Give them some experience I wish I would have known, some things I wish I'd have known. There's several other things. I could probably go on for hours. Several other things I wish I would have known before I moved here. So if you have questions about those, one would be, the main thing I would be talking about is your bank account, American address, American and clothing, things like that, special items, things that you could bring here that I didn't know I could bring here until after I was gone, and how to bring them here. Smaller things, I mean, not cars and stuff, and not precious works of art or anything, but things like that, I'd be happy to talk about that. And I guess that's it. So I guess, like I said, like, subscribe, tell others about this, let them know if anybody's thinking about it or just would be interested in knowing what it's like. So, all right. So, peace, and I look forward to talking to you later. Thanks.